Hello, girls. We are going to continue with the analysis of chapters of the Scarlet Letter. Till chapter 10, we had read to the point that Dimmesdale is found. Chillingworth finds out that Dimmesdale is the man who had an affair with Hester. Okay, the next 10 chapters give us an insight into the mental and emotional states of these three primary characters. Our three primary characters are Hester, Dimmesdale, and Chillingworth. Now we get to know what secrets and what guilts they are weighing on their hearts, and what is the problem between the three in these 10 chapters. So Hester, who is a pure soul, she's basically a pure soul. She suffers because she's protecting Dimmesdale and later on Chillingworth. Okay, she's trying to protect, she's trying to cover up for both of their sins. Okay, and therefore she becomes a partner in their sins. Okay, you cannot cover up another's sin and not be sinful in the process. Okay, so by not revealing their identities to one another, she is committing a crime. And her constant effort to do the right thing also results in her becoming a partner in crime to all the sinners around her. Okay, no matter what happens, she does not disclose Chillingworth's identity to Dimmesdale. She doesn't tell him that he is her husband. Similarly, she doesn't tell Chillingworth that Dimmesdale is the man she fell in love with and who is the father of her daughter. Okay, and she's not doing this because of any guilt or anything like that. She's doing this to protect these two men from their own sins. But all this hiding basically becomes her crime. Okay, later on she even hides this reality from Pearl. Okay, Pearl is her daughter, she deserves to know the truth, but she's not told the truth and choosing not to reveal the true meaning of the letter A. Hester's sin is not adultery. She is not adulteress. I mean, she does commit adultery, but she's not an adulterous woman as such. But the falsehood that she commits to her daughter, the constant lies that she feeds her daughters, are what her sin is. Okay, you cannot keep hiding. You have to bring your secrets out. You have to be completely transparent. That is what the book is trying to tell you all along. Now, Dimmesdale's suffering is also revealed in these 10 chapters. We realize how much guilt he's carrying in his heart. That guilt which he is unable to confess. Okay, that guilt that Hester is the person he fell in love with, and it is he with whom Hester committed adultery, and that Pearl is his daughter. This guilt is feeding off his soul. Okay, the chapters establish his relationship with Hester and his acceptance of Pearl. By the end of these chapters, Dimmesdale comes to know of Chillingworth's intentions also, and he understands what he has to do in order to end this suffering. Okay, he gets to know, he understands this, that he can't elope, he can't escape, he can't run away from this thing. He has to face it head on. Only then will he be released from his suffering. The symbol of A derives a new meaning from his perspective as he comes to recognize it as meaning an angel, and gives that position in his life to Hester. The third person, Chillingworth, drowns further in revenge. I told you earlier also, he's a person looking out for vengeance. Okay, he wants his revenge. And after discovering that Dimmesdale is the man Hester had an affair with, he is hell bent upon getting his revenge, and he blames Hester for all the misfortune and altercations in his life. But his own sinful nature drives him towards cruelty. And he starts looking at the world around him with eyes full of hatred. And that hatred is so strong that it alters it starts altering his physical appearance. He starts looking like this old, ruined, cruel man. Okay, he watches Hester and Dimmesdale reuniting, and he even suspects them to have plans to elope. Okay, they have plans to go to Europe, but he does not want to leave them. He even arranges to be on the same ship as Hester and Dimmesdale. Okay, he's a man full of sinful secrets, and he can't help but suspect everyone around him. The only clear soul in the story is Pearl, who gains further understanding of what the people around her are like. By the time these chapters end, she is 7 years old and she is able to see through the lies of her mother. She knows that she's lying, that Hester is lying constantly to her. She knows that Dimmesdale is also lying and that Chillingworth is not a good man. Okay, and she refuses to accept Dimmesdale. Dimmesdale tries to form a relationship with Pearl, but she refuses to accept him till he accepts her in front of the entire community. Okay, by the end of this chapter, Dimmesdale resolves to confess his sins in front of the community and accept Hester and Pearl. Coming on to the last 4 chapters, these final chapters conclude the novel with every primary character reaching its final destination. Okay, Dimmesdale eventually confesses his sin on the scaffold and after delivering his most powerful sermon. The letter carved on his chest, which grows scarlet now, okay, which has turned scarlet on his white chest. It turns scarlet because of Chillingworth's poisonous medicines, the medicines that he's using to treat Dimmesdale. And this letter is uncovered, and the entire Puritan society of New England finally discover the man who aided Hester in her sin. Soon after, Dimmesdale dies, thanking God for his suffering and pain. He does not have any regrets when he dies after he confesses his sin. He thanks God for the life that he was given and for all the suffering and pain that he had to go through. His confession does not become a punishment for him, as people would have expected that since he also committed adultery, he should have been punished, but this confession instead becomes an escape for him, because the prison that he had created for himself, the secrets and the lies, the guilt, the constant guilt that he was bearing for such a long time, that prison, he was finally released from that prison because of this confession. Chillingworth, who was thriving on Dimmesdale's sin and guilt, now he loses his purpose in life completely. He's like a flower, okay? He's like a black flower who's blooming because of the sinful attitude, or because of the sins which were committed around him, like what sins Dimmesdale does, right? But when Dimmesdale dies, those sins also die with him, and Chillingworth's purpose of life is ended. So, like that black flower, he withers. Okay, Dimmesdale's death finally dies, and Dimmesdale's death releases him as well from the vicious cycle of vengeance. So, Dimmesdale's death brings Chillingworth peace too. Chillingworth finally dies, leaving a small fortune to Pearl. Okay, leaves a small fortune to Pearl. Hester goes to Europe to raise her daughter away from the hypocritical Puritan society, where Pearl grows up and marries a rich man, but for love. Hester eventually returns to Boston and she lives in her cabin for the rest of her life. The cabin she's living in when the book begins, she lives in that cabin for the rest of her life, and she wears the scarlet letter till the end, changing its meaning forever. In the initial chapters of the book, that scarlet letter means somebody, it denotes someone who is adulterous, but by the end of the book, it denotes somebody who's extremely individual and who becomes a legend. Okay, it becomes a legend, a symbol of one's individuality and strength, and when she dies, she is buried next to Dimmesdale, and their common tombstone bears a single scarlet letter A. So this is how the book ends. Now I've given you an analysis of all the chapters of the book, and we have done a plot summary of the entire novel. What I want you to do is, now, if you haven't read the novel, please read the novel, and if you have read the novel, please keep these things in mind and try and understand, make an effort to understand the novel better. Try and find the themes which the novel highlights, because that is what we are going to study in the next class. We are going to do the character analysis and the themes. Okay, and then we're going to end the novel with probable question and important quotations from it. So this is all for today. Thank you.